Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back for another Weekly United. Hope you guys are all doing well. This is the place where every single Thursday we wrap up the last week in the world of Manchester United. There's always loads of news, headlines, transfer rumours, loads of good stuff going on. So we're going to get stuck into plenty today, and we have got plenty to talk about. Ansu Fati, Jadon, Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw scoring goals, a friendly that was abandoned this week, Borussia Dortmund setting a high price for Jadon Sancho. Could that scupper any potential move? Donny van de Beek, is he really on his way to Manchester United? The top 40 clubs with the highest percentage of homegrown talent has been revealed as well, and I'll tell you where Manchester United feature in that in the list of the top 5 big leagues and the big clubs where we are in terms of the homegrown talent, and also an update on Manchester United's game, the first game back for United against Tottenham Hotspur as well. We have a little bit of news on that one, so make sure you're keeping it locked, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're subscribing and joining if you can as well. We're about 16, 17, 18 members away from 100 members now. We've set that target by the end of June, so help me hit that target. Can we hit 100 members by the end of June? Get clicking that join button, and if you've already done it, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Anyway, let's get stuck into all this news. Now, first things first, we're looking at a possible alternative to Manchester United's bid for Jadon Sancho, and that is Ansu Fati. Now, there were a few days ago reports that Manchester United had bid £89 million for him, and had that bid knocked back, it was in relation to United getting uncomfortable with the demands that were being asked for Jadon Sancho by Borussia Dortmund. But to me, that's weird. United get upset at the fact that Dortmund want 100 odd million for Jadon Sancho, so we bid 90 million for our second choice, Ansu. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially at a first bid. But Sporting Witness have been looking at the new reports from Sport in Spain that Manchester United are serious about the signing, and they have made a first offer and now ready to reach dizzying figures. But when you read that even more, you kind of come to see that it's his agents doing, the club's doing. They're trying to get an increase on his contract, an increase in playing time. They have demands there that Barcelona will probably meet. This is something that's being done to speed those talks on, in my opinion. He's not going to leave Barcelona at 17 years old. He's obviously a fantastic talent, and I don't think United are actually targeting him. This is another one of those players that we're being used for a new deal. He's going to sign a new deal at Barca, will have a ridiculous release clause, and Manchester United, we missed out on another player. In my opinion, he's not an alternative to Jadon Sancho, and United definitely aren't going to end up spending 90, 100 million pounds on an alternative to Jadon Sancho because Jadon Sancho is going to cost 100 million pounds. It just doesn't make sense. Luke Shaw's been speaking a lot this week as well. He's done a few interviews with ManchesterUnited.com, and he's been speaking about Marcus Rashford and how he thinks Marcus Rashford could soon, one day, win the Ballon d'Or. And I've got to say, I agree with Luke Shaw. Now, that's not to say he will win it. He'll definitely win it. You have to be a fantastic player, and only 4 players have ever won it in the history of Manchester United when they've been playing for Manchester United. Those players, Ronaldo, Best, Law, Charlton. It shows you the level that you have to get at. But in a post Messi and Ronaldo dominating the Ballon d'Or, in that era after then, you look around and you see Mbappe, there's a fair few players, Erling Haaland maybe, there's players out there that could be challenging, and I definitely think Marcus Rashford is one of those. He has this tunnel vision, he has this, he just wants to improve. He's been showing that this season, and I'm not comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of what they went on to. Ronaldo went on to achieve ridiculous things and will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest. But Marcus Rashford seems to have that kind of tunnel vision on just improving himself week in, week out, and it looks like it's paying off. And now he's got an opportunity to get his first 20 goal plus season, and if you can play like he has been doing when he's been good this season, consistently throughout the season, there's no reason why he can't get 30 plus goals a season. If he does that by the ages 23, 24, and United are pushing on for those big trophies, you have to win one of them, but he could be in and around with a shout of winning the Ballon d'Or. So yeah, I agree with Luke Shaw on that. Something that I'm not sure about though, and moving on from those quotes from Luke Shaw, was he scored 2 goals in training. Now, there was a 4-4 draw and there were some rumoured scorers and they were apparently wrong, and Luke Shaw scored 2 for the away side. But he's been describing those goals to Man United, and this is how he described them. My first goal was decent. It was from a great cross by Bruno and my volley went straight in. I was happy with it. My other one was just getting forward. Wan played it to me on the edge of the box. I took a touch and shot it in. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I've got a feeling if I was to see those goals, they'd be the scrappiest goals ever, and Luke Shaw's just absolutely hyping them. You know, imagine if I scored a goal for Man United and no one had seen it.
Another United fan, AdamMcKola. Don't let us down, we need a goal. They scored their last one. Oh, wow. I'll have that all day long. Beautiful.
I'd hype it up. It could be a 3-yard tap-in and I'd be making it believe like I'd scored a 30-yard screamer. It's as simple as that. And I feel like Luke Shaw may be doing that a little bit here. But it's great to see Luke Shaw actually as he's come back looking fit and ready to go. There's been occasions when he's come back to pre-season, and I know this is not pre-season, but it's kind of like a pre-season in mid-season, and he hasn't looked fit enough or ready to go. He's been keeping himself fit over the last couple of years when the football has stopped, and that's great to see a little bit more professionalism from him. And I'm sure Brandon Williams has had an effect on him as well. Talking about friendly games, we should have played Stoke this week, but that friendly was cancelled after their manager O'Neill tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately for United, he had not reached within touching distance of any of our players or staff or anything like that, so there were no issues around him there. But the game was called off, and United had another inter-squad friendly at Carrington. So they are planning to try and get 2 friendlies in with West Bromwich Albion in the same day. It'd probably be 2 11s or 2 different squads completely participating in those games. But there's rumours of them trying to sort that out before we take that action to Spurs next week. We're about a week to go now. This last few months has really dragged on a little bit with there being so much up in the air. But it's great to finally have some football coming back in our lives. And when I say football, I mean Manchester United, because that's all we care about, right? Now, as ever on the Weekly United, you get an update on Jadon Sancho, and today is no different now. There's reports in England at the moment that Borussia Dortmund are demanding £115 million for Jadon Sancho. And that might be why you're hearing rumours linking Manchester United with Kai Havertz, with Ansu Fati. But United maybe actually, I don't know what I said earlier, but this is how things work in transfer windows. United may be briefing that we're looking at alternatives, so Dortmund think, oh shit, we can't be asking that much money. Because if you look at it, Chelsea possibly signing Timo Werner, they've signed Hakim Ziyech. They look like they're doing business at the moment, and they're kind of possibly out of the race for Jadon Sancho when they were touted as a possible rival for Manchester United. Now, Real Madrid, Juventus, all the talk coming from these clubs is they don't have the money to compete with Manchester United to sign Jadon Sancho. Therefore, there's not going to be a bidding war. Therefore, Dortmund aren't going to be able to get the money they want. Therefore, they're going to have to try and stick firm, whereas Manchester United are going to try and drag that price down a little bit. Now, I would expect this back and forth and this posturing over the next couple of weeks and months until the transfer window opens and United actually make their first bid for him. There's going to be a lot of chat, but it is feeling like it's going one way, and that is in Jadon Sancho joining Man United. There was an article in Sport Build this week where it kind of just, is a character assassination of Jadon Sancho, and teams and medias only start doing that when they know a player's probably leaving. Talking about a player that will be leaving his club, Donny van der Beek, likely to leave Ajax. He was almost destined for a move to Real Madrid, it seemed, and then the coronavirus pandemic came into play. Now, the articles in the British press this week are saying he's made a decision and he wants to join Real Madrid. And look, I'm not getting dragged into this one. I don't feel there's much there anyway. I feel like Real Madrid have had an agreed deal which they've kind of reneged on after the coronavirus pandemic. They're still interested in him. They're still, in and around for him. Duncan Castles has confirmed that. And I don't see United actually being a genuine possibility for signing Donny van der Beek. For the same reasons I don't think Jack Grealish, if Paul Pogba stays, where are you playing, Donny? We need a different kind of midfielder. We need to bring in a different kind of balance to the midfield. I'm not saying he's not a good player, because he's a very good player. But I just don't feel like... I feel like we're being used here. When Timo Werner wasn't going to Liverpool, we got used with him. He's going to Chelsea. When players aren't getting the deals that are on the cards, we're almost getting dragged into it. And I just don't think we're actually after Donny van der Beek. It just doesn't seem like we are. In my opinion, or it could be one of those where we think, oh, could we get him for cheap? If we can get him, we'll take him. If not, we don't care. But he's going to go to Real Madrid. He's going to go to Real Madrid. They're trying to drive that price down, in my opinion. Tifosi have done a report on the top 40 clubs with the highest percentage of homegrown talent as a percentage of their first team squad in Europe's Big 5 leagues. And Manchester United have come out on top of that with 40.7%. 41% basically of our team is homegrown talent. And when you think about Athletic Bilbao, who are second with 37.5%, Athletic Bilbao have that kind of, you know, they only play Basque players anyway. So it's quite incredible for Manchester United to be sitting top of this table. It shows a return to, you know, the kind of way Manchester United want to do things at United, using the academy, accompanying it and accommodating that with quality signings on top of it as well. Because transfers are important, let's not pretend they're not. But so is developing our own homegrown talent and having a nucleus of that. We've spoken about Marcus Rashford today, and he's the shining light in that. But we need to have a lot of talent coming through, and these kind of records are great to have. We need to obviously keep developing those players. They have to keep improving, and we have to improve the squad with signings. So you may see that drop a little bit, but even then, when you look at it, the players that could leave, like, you know, Marcus Rojo might leave. I don't know if Chris Smalling counts as homegrown talent in this, but when he probably doesn't. So like, if you think about it, we could let some academy players go and more come in and fill the system. You may see that number rise. So it is pretty cool to see that. You look at the biggest English club, 29.6% for Chelsea, Arsenal 25.9%, Southampton 23.8%. Tottenham 20%, Liverpool 15.4%, Norwich 13.6%, and Man City with 12.5%. The biggest club after United is Chelsea, really, on 29%. So it's pretty good from United, and it showed you how we are sticking to our roots. Before we go, I promised you an update on that Spurs game, and Dele Alli will miss Manchester United's clash with Manchester United next week after the FA handed him a one-game suspension for a social media post. Now, obviously that's good news for United. They're missing one of their key players. Happy days. But I love the way this is being spanned by the media and journalists. Some of them are saying he's been mocking coronavirus, a one-game suspension for a social media post, and all this, that and the other. A social media post mocking coronavirus. Is that really what he was doing? Call it for what it is, will ya? Call it for what it was. He was being a little bit racist, you know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. He was stereotyping someone based on their race. Now, he might not be racist. He might just be very stupid. But call it what it is. Don't say mocking coronavirus, because that's not what he was doing. Mocking coronavirus is saying, oh, coronavirus is just like the flu. That's mocking coronavirus. He never mocked coronavirus, and he never just made a social media post. That's the case. If you got a one-game suspension for a social media post, everyone will be getting one-game suspensions every single day for posting on social media. Call it what it is. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and comment and share and subscribing, keeping it light. Let us know your thoughts on everything we've described and discussed today in AdamMcKola TV. United's percentage of homegrown talent, Dele Alli getting a suspension for the United game, Donny van der Beek, Ansu Fati, Jadon, Sancho transfer news, and of course Luke Shaw's descriptions of his goals. Do you really believe him? Get your comments in the comments below. Make sure you like and comment, share and subscribing, and join in if you can. But for now, I've been AdamMcKola. You lot have been legends. I'm out of here.